How's it going, everybody? We are here again for another great chat with another fine artisan of steel, my friend Rich Patterson. I'm really excited to talk to him and get to know his story and share that with you guys. But before we do that, we're going to get into some of the super sponsors real quick. Uh, First off is Gabe Fletcher, very talented maker from Anchorage, Alaska. He is Anchorage Forge on Instagram, as well as the owner of Anchorage Brewing Company, which is Anchorage Beer. Oh, shoot. Sorry, Anchorage Brewing on Instagram. And Gabe's doing some really great stuff. He just got back from Austria. Congratulations, massive congratulations to him for winning Best Culinary Knife, Chef's Knife at that show over in Austria. He had a really beautiful piece that was a collaboration with Josh Prince that he won with, and he's going to have a lot of phenomenal pieces at the upcoming Blade Show down in Atlanta, Georgia. And if you get a chance, you got to go see his work. I'm actually going to be sharing a table with him. My deal with the devil knife is going to be there. And I think I'm going to also have some prints that we'll be selling of some of my the stuff that we do actually here on the Patreon. And then, okay, so next we have Josh Weston. He is Josh A. Weston on Instagram, as well as the proprietor of the Dragon Forge Experience, which is Dragon Forge EXP on Instagram. Another good friend. I'm very thankful for his support, and he is just such a great guy and very talented. We had a great conversation a few episodes back on the Artisans of Steel, where he talked about the Dragon Forge Experience, and I'm looking forward to hopefully working with him maybe this November down in Austin. It's going to be a lot of fun, but I really love what they do with those dragons. He has built forges that are these phenomenally fabricated, steel fabricated, and I think it's high temperature refractory as well for the heads and parts of the bodies. But these dragon forges that at these Renaissance festivals around the country, the people get to get their hands dirty and they hit some hot steel and forge blades out of the mouths of these dragons. So if you want to know more information about that, go to Dragon Forge EXP on Instagram. Next up is Russell Tinsley, another fine proprietor of tasty adult beverages at Ouzelfinch Beers on Instagram. They make some of the most wild out-of-the-box beers I've ever tasted, but they've all been super delicious. One of their newest things that they got going are boozy sodas. And it's kind of like it's kind of a nostalgic thing, kind of a throwback to orange sodas, grape sodas, like all the different kind of sodas you might have drank when you were a kid. But they're for grown-ups now. They're for all of you grown-up people out there. So if you go to your local beer market, if they don't already have Ouzelfinch, make sure you talk to the buyer about getting some Ouzelfinch in, because they are super good beers. And Russell is also a knife maker. He's busy with life as a brewery owner and a young family, and but he is making some good work too when he gets the chance to get into the shop. So go check him out. Again, he's on Instagram at Ouzelfinch Beers. That's OOZLE Finch Beers, as well as at Can't Make Knives. Next up, we have Dan Hubbs. He is at 66 Mountain Knives. He just finished out a really killer EDC. Let's see, I had it pulled up just a second ago. Let's see, the description is Zatep. He said it's his latest mosaic Damascus with Karelian birch handle-made material from our friends and our next sponsor at Maritime Knife Supply. He is actually also going to be at Blade Show. He's going to be at, let's see, table. I don't see his table on here. But anyways, he's going to, table 15H. I can't remember if that's in the handmade or if that's in the ABS section. But anyways, if you get a chance, you got to go see his work. I hope if he has this blade at Blade Show, I hope he is submitting it to Hunter or EDC or what else? The Hunter utility category or the best Damascus, because his Damascus game, his finishing work is phenomenal. Go give him a follow on Instagram. Again, he's at 66 Mountain Knives. He actually shows a little bit of his process for making this pattern. Again, it's called Zatep. and it's really nice. So you got to go give him a follow, go check it out. And if you're at Blade Show, make sure you go say what's up to him. Finally, we have our last sponsor, Mr. Lawrence Lake. He is at Maritime Knife Supply on Instagram. You can also find him online at maritimeknifesupply.com, where he has all the stuff you need for making knives, from consumable belts and handle materials, like the handle that our friend Dan used in his recent build. He also has steel, grinders, anvils, whatever you need, really. And he just got in a shipment of the blade grinding jigs made by Tobin Machines. And those are probably the most intriguing blade grinding jigs that I've ever seen. They have these like roller bearings and this little table and little limiting plates, and all this stuff is very cool. It's a smart design. I really like it a lot. And if you get a chance and want to find out more information about that, as well as all the stuff that Lawrence offers, go find him on Instagram. Again, he's at Maritime Knife Supply. And you can also find him online, maritimeknifesupply.com. So our guest, my friend Rich Patterson, I first met Rich at, I think it was Hammer in 2018. He came up to the Northeast, to the Hammerin, and then he did some work with a friend, Jordan Lamotte, afterward. But I was very impressed when I saw his work. He hadn't been making knives for very long, I don't believe, and he was already doing really high-level stuff. And he is only accelerated from there, and he is developing new approaches, especially to the overall aesthetic and the finishing of some of these. A lot of people are doing these through tang handles, and he has a really nice way of finishing them out. I hope we get into that and talk about that some, but I'm going to bring him in here. Rich Patterson, how are you doing, my friend?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to have you here today. Like I said, I really appreciate your work. I also did a class. You helped coordinate a class for me up in Minnesota when I was there. Was that last year?
That was, about a year and a half ago now.
Oh, no. Was it just a year ago?
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was. Yeah.
Sometime in the fall. I think it was like last April or something like that.
Maybe. I don't know.
Or the April before. I don't know.
At some point in the past.
Time is a weird construct.
Yeah, exactly.
I struggle to keep in alignment because I don't have a normal 9 to 5. So kind of throws all this stuff off. Yeah. But excellent. No, I really appreciate you being in here, and I appreciate you taking the time. I think people are going to really enjoy our conversation.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So you hail from Minnesota. Did you always live there?
Actually,
where are you from originally?
I grew up in Cleveland originally. So when I first met you, I was still living in Cleveland.
Oh, all right.
I moved here like very late 2018.
Okay.
So that Hammerin might have been 2017 that I met you, or I don't know what time of year that was. It could have been.
Dang.
Because you moved
it might have been 2017, sure.
Right around then, yeah.
Yeah, because I moved to Connecticut in 2016. No, sorry.
When did you move?
Actually, I moved to Connecticut in 2017.
So then it would have been 2018 then, probably.
Okay, yeah. Because I don't think we did the Hammerin, or I wasn't part of that Hammerin in the 2017 year. I think I was traveling, visiting family or something like that.
Yeah.
But like I said, I was very surprised when I saw your work. It was very clean. It was very good. And you were already.
It's not as clean as you think it is, but
I remember it being pretty good.
I made that one to cut my wedding cake, so I got to keep that one, which is kind of cool.
Oh, I got you. Have you made any knives that I keep? I end up doing a bit of experimentation with grinds and
that was the first mosaic and the first integral I ever did. So it was like the bolster's a little bit off, and
sure.
I kind of don't want to fix it. Just kind of keep it as a reminder of
where you came from.
The best I could do at that time, and then
yeah, hell yeah.
I don't know.
Brian Hunt's jumped in here and he says, "What's up? Good morning. What's up, Brian? Thanks for joining us." So you grew up in Cleveland. And I believe I'm just trying to think of the stuff I know about you before knife making. You were an electrician by trade.
Yep.
And so like, what was life like growing up in Ohio? Like, was the Drew Carey show just a really big thing for you guys there?
I mean, I didn't care that much. I was, in the 90s. I wasn't watching Drew Carey show, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I was kind of suburban, in the burbs, Cleveland, Brunswick, Ohio, but about a half hour south, outside the city.
Were you always a hands-on kid, always making and building?
Yeah,
stuff?
my dad worked on like CNC machines, when he was around, and so he set them up and worked on them. He traveled all over the world. He wasn't really around too much.
I got you.
And then I was like in the woodworking. I took all the shop classes in high school that you could possibly take, so I didn't have to do.
Me too.
Stuff. We all kind of did that, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, and I was like,
here and says what's up too.
Yeah. Yeah, I was in the knife super early. I was always collecting like flea market knives and stuff like that. And
oh, really?
So I would buy a blade, or I'd smash a handle off and try to put a handle on. It kind of started probably in early high school, actually.
Really?
At a very, very low level, but just kind of messing around.
That's so interesting. Yeah. I always had appreciation for knives, but I never once thought that I could do anything like put a new handle on it or like all that kind of stuff. That's really cool. How old are you? Do you mind my asking?
39, I think.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
39. Yeah.
We're almost the same age. When was your birthday?
April 23rd.
Oh, happy belated.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome. April 23rd. Okay, so as a kid, you were building and creating stuff. How does that continue into the electrician trade? Like, when did you decide to become an electrician? Is that something
when I realized that I am not a school person and I'm not cut out for college, and I could get paid to go to school for 5 years for my apprenticeship. I got a day off of work every other week and got paid to go to school for the apprenticeship. I got to work with my hands, and I got to go do different stuff all the time, which is kind of like ADD brain key for me. I can't do the same thing over and over.
For sure.
And so I would go to different jobs all the time, where I'd be doing a different task. It kind of worked out pretty well, actually.
Nice. I'm trying to think. So you're doing the electrician stuff. How does that eventually lead into knife making? Oh, I mean, I guess you've already been dabbling as a kid.
I was probably kind of like a weird knife nerd kid, before then, even, but yeah, then as an electrician, I had money and I was single. So I would I bought a blade.
So you had money to burn.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd sell a knife and then put all the money that I sold into buying stuff. My first grinder I built myself.
Yeah. Did you do the no weld?
I do a little bit of stuff,
Because what is it? USA Knife Maker is in Minnesota.
Well, they're in Minnesota. Yeah.
I guess you were in Ohio. Did you do the no welder plan?
No, I just took pictures of a KMG. So I never met another knife maker really until 2016. I took pictures of a KMG and did all this math and tried to scale it and everything. I didn't even know the tooling arm size. I made it 1.25 inches. I didn't even do it right. But it worked. I think
Bader does 1.25 inches though, right?
Yeah, it ended up working for their stuff, but I gave it away to a friend who was a blacksmith friend. But it actually worked pretty well. I had variable speed and everything. I found I got some used stuff from work and electrically made it work.
Yeah, I built mine based off the no welder plans from Tracy Mickley.
Yep.
Over at USA Knife Maker. Although I had access to a welder, so I just welded everything in place.
Yeah.
And I had experience with a welder, so I felt confident that I could weld everything in place and everything wouldn't be all warped out of shape. Although I'm sure it took me probably a month to get everything kind of dialed in and tuned in so that I could actually get it operating.
That is after my life.
After
I enjoy the journey. I have probably $5,000 or more in just unfinished. Probably I could put a couple days and finish all these knives. I enjoy the process, but wrapping it up is hard. So I enjoy I built my hydraulic press. I had a tire hammer that I built.
Yeah,
I love building stuff.
Wow, I haven't. That's true. I just realized I haven't been to your shop before.
No, now I have an Anyang now. Actually, Jason, the guy North Star Forge, who we did the class when you were in town, he has my old tire hammer, that blue one.
Jason Krause, right?
Yeah, Jason Krause.
Yeah. People are interested in taking classes who are out in the Midwest. Is that considered Midwest?
Yeah, Midwest is pretty broad, but yeah, you definitely I think we're the definition of Midwest here
in the Minnesota area. or access to Minnesota.
Yeah, there's not much. I mean, basically, you got like Denver and Chicago are the next like real cities. There's a couple
Sure.
smaller
Oh,
cities,
wow.
but which are like Denver's like 12 and Chicago's like 5.5.
Right.
Then there's like small cities, but there's not much around here. So if you're not like from here, you're pretty rural, most likely, or a small city.
Go take classes with Jason. He's a great
Yeah,
guy.
he,
And he's
he
got
does. He has classes on all the time.
yeah.
From
Yeah.
like
I think most of the posts
black,
I
I think,
see
all the
is
way up
him.
to what's that?
I was just saying, I think most of the posts I see from him are him.
That's like his main gig. I think he makes some knives too, but I think it's mostly teaching.
You were part of the big, or maybe I'm mistaken, but were you part of the big ABS Journeyman Smith?
Yes. Yeah, I was in that. Jason Krause, he was in it.
Nice.
Will Stelter was in that one. Dennis Tyrell was in it. Pretty much everyone.
Was it Ryan Brewer was in that
Brewer
one?
was in there. Wasteland Forge.
Rick Hall?
Rick Hall, was he in that one? I don't remember.
I don't know if Rick Hall.
He might have been. There was, I think, 56 of us tried.
56 tried, and how many passed?
38, which is actually a pretty high percentage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost. What is that? 60% pass. That's a D grade.
Yeah. Well, whatever.
yeah, 60%. That's not bad.
That was a big one.
Yeah. What was it like for you getting kind of like trying to get prepared for that? Because I'm kind of in the place where I just rejoined the ABS last year, just before Blade Show last year, because my plan was to test at Blade Show not this year but the next year. Yeah. And so because I already have I still have a blade that still holds. I lose you for a second.
Yeah, for a second. That knocks a year off doing that class.
Yeah, it knocks a year off. And so I shaved off a year, and it's gonna be we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it was pretty stressful. Depending on how, like, you can honestly, like, what they let through is a little bit lower than I thought standard wise.
Oh, really?
It's just in a sense that, like, I think I built it up in my head bigger than it is, right? Like, I was building my knife like I was going for my mastersmith set. I took it very seriously.
Yeah,
which you should. I think that's kind of the point, really, for me, anyways.
For sure.
Like, I haven't sold another knife, and someone's like, "Oh, I bought it because you're a journeyman." Like it's maybe mastersmith you might get that, but it's just a goal. Like, you push yourself. I'm definitely better after it than before it, because you kind of get way more critical of your own work than you normally would be.
I just found your ABS set. I'm going to share it actually really quick on the screen, and maybe you can talk us through what's going on here with these knives. So anybody who's only listening through audio, you can go find this conversation on YouTube. But we are looking at his ABS set on the Instagram, and we're go from the top down. Talk to me about what you got going on here.
Yeah, so top one's a little petty, like ultra thin. That's out of that 1085 round stock from Pops, I think. Like crazy thin edge. That one sold pretty quick. One below it's actually the same, or one below it's 52-100, I believe.
Okay.
That was the first time I had tried that faceted kind of handle on those. With it, which kind of, you can see a lot of mine integrals kind of have, or descendants of that handle, basically.
Sure.
And those are my favorite to the set because I do culinary knives. I don't, honestly, like, that's only the second buoy I've ever made, the one below it. So, like,
I got you.
I kept it pretty classic.
And just below the bolster, there, it looks like, is that silver?
That's Argentium silver. That's also the first time I tried that technique.
Okay.
And you can't see in the picture on the back, there's a little raised
barely
ring.
See.
Yeah, you can see it in, like, the other pictures of how I do this raised ring around the Corby in the back. There was a lot of first in that one. I put more time into that than all of the other ones.
Oh, really?
It was like trying to figure out the process stuff,
Oh, and it looks like they're all museum fit up as well.
Yeah, honestly, it's easier. I just like doing it. It's not that hard once you kind of figure it out, and you kind of.
Do you use like Gorilla Tape? I've heard of people using Gorilla Tape or electrical tape as kind of a buffer zone.
Just take a mechanical pencil at a 45 and draw a line around. And depending on the size lead you use, tells you how far the line is away. So, like, I use a 0.5 millimeter lead at a 45.
Yeah.
And you get a really crisp line, because the problem with the Gorilla Tape is it will compress at the corners. So if you go around it on the flat parts, it'll be pretty even. when you get to like, if you look at that buoy, like where it goes to under the guard, kind of,
Right.
the tape compresses a little bit, and your fit's not even around, which kind of drives me crazy, especially with the museum fit.
Yeah.
So on that round handle, like the very bottom little hunter thing, the tape would work fine for that probably.
I got you. With the round integral.
But honestly, the pencil. I mean, you could screw up with the pencil, right? Like if you're not paying attention, but if you could grind to a line, you're pretty good.
Nice.
But yeah, then the buoy is a takedown. That was, like I said, it's only the second buoy I've made because I don't really do them. I kept it pretty like, for the journeyman instead, I try to keep everything pretty classic and simple. I didn't really try to push, too far. You're kind of playing their game, really.
For sure. Yeah.
Just play their game. Yeah.
When it comes to the tang on that takedown, did you add a threaded rod or did you thread the tang material?
I think that one I threaded because I had enough. Okay. Although nowadays I use just brazen a rod though.
Sure.
It's plenty strong and it's just easier,
I got you. So are you using so brazing is different from silver soldering, right? Or is it the same?
They're similar. I think brazing is maybe a little higher temperature. I could be wrong. Someone's going to probably correct me. Okay. I think they're similar enough. I've silver soldered them as well. It's pretty much the same deal. Flux heated up till it's kind of a dull red in it. It'll suck into the joint. It's incredibly strong. You'll never. I mean, I don't know how you'd ever pull it apart.
Right. Cool. And then on this last one, on the bottom one. Well, sorry. So after the Bowie, then you have, what would you call this knife? With the is that a bronze or is it?
That's aluminum bronze, I believe.
Aluminum bronze. Okay.
Or I forget. I think it's aluminum. I like the way it ages. Like right there is pretty shiny, but it kind of gets to like a dull, kind of like really rich coppery color, which is pretty nice.
Nice. Interesting. So it doesn't go to like more of a brown or anything like that?
It gets like a deeper coppery kind of tone, which is pretty nice.
I got you.
And I think it looks pretty good as it ages, where like, brass kind of looks, not great as it ages generally.
As it ages.
Bronze is the cheat code to not using brass if you want to use something softer, because people don't dig brass as much anymore.
Definitely not, even though it's a more expensive material, right?
They're all pretty expensive. They're all like, mostly copper. But yeah, I think brass might be a little bit more. I don't know. I just buy chunks on eBay usually.
I got you.
Kind of make stuff out of it.
And it looks like you also have a domed pin on the hunter at the bottom.
Yeah, you can tell I'm really into my heirloom kind of fit stuff. But yeah, that is an Argentium silver pin, and actually that one has a little spacer on it too. I don't know if you could zoom in.
Oh,
has the same,
around.
Yeah, it has the same spacer between the handle, and then I did Argentium silver pin as well, which is just kind of put in there and domed, and then polished up real nice.
I've never done the doming process. Did you watch the Nick Wheeler doming?
I've seen that. You know what I did is I paid Mike Quisenberry for his online course.
Oh yeah,
and that's exactly what I did.
Yeah,
it's kind of like pretty low video quality, but there's a ton of good info in there. It's totally worth the $99 or whatever he charges for it.
Yeah, basically,
if you watch that video, it's exactly what I did, and it's what I still do. It's not bad.
Oh, cool.
Quick, but it's pretty foolproof, and it looks like super clean because they're all the way down to the wood. Like sometimes you'll see people dome it, and then you see like a little ledge because they didn't dome it all the way down to the wood.
Yeah.
Hard to do because you'll dent up your wood and stuff. So
right. Well, and they're probably worried about damaging the wood, right?
Yeah. He's got all kinds of little tricks and stuff for that. So.
Oh, interesting. That's good. That's a good rack.
Yep.
So what do you think was? I mean, you said the chef's knife. You spent more time on the chef's knife than any of them. But kind of like, what was the overall? What are some pointers you got for me? The things to think about as I prepare for approaching my journeyman.
Yeah, like I mean, obviously you're gonna not. I mean, your knives are already above that level, but depending on how much of the game you want to play, you probably don't have to play it as much as I did, because you're gonna do good stuff. But I kind of kept everything pretty classic. Like honestly, I don't do a lot of plunge lines. I mean, there's only 2 plunge lines in the whole set because I don't like doing them. Doing chef knives and integrals, you really don't really do them.
Sure.
So maybe practice a little bit of that because you want to do something. I think they only allow 2 integrals now. They changed the rules.
I was gonna wonder about that because I remember that there was something about the integrals, but I couldn't remember what exactly.
Yeah, I don't know why they changed it. I think people were doing more integrals because they realized if you know how to do that, it's easier than fitting up a guard.
Sure.
But, I think it is anyways.
I think right now
I got some guard fitting tricks too. I could help you out with too.
that'd
Make
be
it
good.
real easy.
Yeah. Well, and then tell me about your performance knife at the bottom.
Yeah, so I did that
how
with
was
actually
that?
Jordan Lamote's. I
That
went
year
up
I met
to
you?
no, that would have been like
Oh,
this would
okay.
have been this was like what year? I don't even know what year this was now, like 2021. It was like right towards
Okay.
the end of COVID.
I got you.
Whatever year that was. But yeah, it would have been like the 6 months before that or something. I went to Ashokan. They had the sword Ashokan, big
Oh,
hammer
yeah,
in
yeah.
New York. And then I
Yeah.
stopped by Jordan's shop. We were out there and I kind of did it there.
Was it
And that,
planned at all? Or because the
yeah,
way
no,
you're saying it is like,
it was planned. I
we
told
just
like
kind of decided to do a
nah,
journeyman
what it
Smith
was is
test.
we flew out with we had my son at the time. I don't know if my daughter was she around? I think my wife was pregnant at the time. And my
Okay.
mother and father-in-law like to do road trips, so they just kind of like drove up through Canada from here and then
Oh,
kind of came
dang.
through upstate New York. They just like to do long road trips, and then we got an
Right.
Airbnb near that area, and then we just kind of went up to Jordan's shop and hung out,
Yeah.
for like an hour, did the test, and then the following weekend I went to Ashoka and hung out.
Nice. I've been wanting to go to
I could
Ashoka.
have done it there. I just didn't want to do it in front of everyone because everyone's watching you. They're all drunk at night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Felt
I
better
don't
doing
think
it
I
in
would
the shop.
want a big audience either.
Nah.
That's another thing. I've been trying to figure out who I might do my journeyman Smith test with.
You got pretty good options out there, right? I mean,
there's a lot of options. Yeah.
Yeah, because out here, basically, the nearest mastersmith is like 6 hours. That's Howard Clark, the sword guy.
Yeah.
And otherwise, I got to go to like Missouri or Texas or like, I think Kevin Cashin's he's in like Michigan, but it's like 9 hours. There's not much here. Hopefully, we'll have some in the next couple of years here.
Sure. Yeah. I've been trying to figure it out because, like, obviously Bob Kramer got me into knife making, but then another part of me is like, well, but like over the years I've become really good friends with Jason Knight and Steve Schwarzer and kind of be part of especially Steve Schwarzer is just kind of like he's like the granddaddy, I guess, of a lot of Mosaic Damascus kind of stuff. And
that'd be a cool one.
But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting thinking about the ABS and trying to join and whether or not to actually join or not, or to follow through with all this stuff. Just because there's, even though it seems pretty straightforward, there's a lot of there's some petty and some weird political stuff around the ABS and how they operate and stuff like that. But
I feel like it's getting a little bit better. It's kind of moving in the right direction as people like some of the old guard kind of move on out, and then there's young guys who are not into the whole I don't know, trying to think of the word, but
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I can't think of the word, but it's Kevin Cashin's now president, and he's pretty honor, he follows the rule to the T. There's a guy who got his journeyman one week in that big year, and he had a tomahawk and a gigantic dagger that probably would be called a sword, which you're not allowed to test with a tomahawk or a sword.
Oh,
they let him go through. He actually won the award for best. It was amazing. But really, he shouldn't have been able. There was a lot of
shouldn't have been able to submit it. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and Kevin wasn't there that year because he had some other obligations. But if he was there, I'm sure he would have put up a fight. Not that the guy didn't deserve to get and then win the award, which he did. I think he also won a Blade Show Best award too. He's a Brazilian guy. Fabio Barros, amazing set.
Oh, sure, yeah. Fabio's great.
The thing is, you have these rules, and then when you don't follow them, it kind of leaves a bad taste in everyone's mouth. It's just not you know how that goes.
I mean, not submitting a sword or a tomahawk are probably a good idea because you're leaving things. The judging is really tricky. I feel like in the ABS because I think they have a very specific thing that they're looking for. Even I had a friend who submitted.
Oh, I think I lost you for a second again.
Okay.
There you are. You're back.
Okay. I had a friend that submitted for Mastersmith a couple of years ago, and because he made I guess artistic choices that in regards to carving the handle and stuff like that. The judges were like, no, sorry. And even though they're like, dude, that was awesome, and there's no way I could even have done that, but they're also like, at the same time, it's not to my taste, so we're not going to pass you for it. And it's like,
Yeah,
wait a
I have a
second.
problem with that on the master and the journeyman. I kind of get it because you're like journeyman, you're just showing that you could play their game and do the ABS style knife. But on the master smith, I think you should be able to like spread your wings a little bit and kind
Yeah,
of
there should be some artistic flexibility there for
yeah,
sure.
as long as it's like well put together and everything, and
Yeah.
it looks good.
Yeah,
That's
because
it for
otherwise people are just submitting journeyman smith test knives with Damascus.
super clean journeyman knives out of Damascus. You're right. And I think
Yeah, and I'm just
the only one that has to be Damascus is the dagger. They could be mono steel if you want,
right.
but you could kind of hide
Oh,
more.
really? Only the dagger has to be the Damascus. For some reason,
Yeah.
I thought the whole set had to be
Yeah,
Damascus.
could be. I mean, everyone does because, like, really, it's. I mean, if you hand sand a blade and if it's not like the best hand sanding you've ever seen, you're not going to pass on Master Smith. So if you etch it,
Right.
you kind of have.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
It's almost,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like if they
There's a
look at
point.
it and they see like one scratch, it kind of like veers off or
One
something.
errant little scratch. Yeah.
Probably
Lo siento, amigo.
probably host. Yeah.
I'm not gonna go.
So
Wow.
I haven't seen anyone submit a mono steel for Master in a while.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways. Yeah. I'm trying not to be too nervous about it because I feel confident that I can do it.
You take yourself serious, but you don't have to worry about it. At least especially for journeyman. I don't even think for Master Smith,
Well, and one thing, I think one of my weak points is guards and plunge lines, because those are things that I basically never do.
Same exact problems. I got the guard fit up down. I got a pretty good technique. If next time you come in town, we could kind of show you like simple tool version. Yeah, you don't.
I will say, I did a Loveless replica, and the fit or the plunge lines on that came out great.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
I don't even know. Like some of the ABS guys like their plunges to come like straight in, like really sharp, and some of them like a little bit of a radius.
Yeah, I prefer.
I like the little radius myself.
Yeah.
The tiny, one, but the straight ones are a little bit easier.
Yeah. Are you planning on going forward with a Master Smith?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a time thing. Like I think this will be the first year where I have 5 days a week, where the kids are kind of in school now.
Oh, nice.
I've had only 3 days a week up till now, basically for the last
since
5 years or 4 years.
Okay.
So I don't want to do it until I know I have the time to do it right, because everyone I've talked to that has done a set that I'm like, that's a good set, said it's at least 1,000 hours to make those 5 knives.
Damn.
Which is half a year, right?
Yeah.
So, and I'll probably end up doing it over the course of a whole year, but
yeah,
you got to make money in the meantime.
I got to do that math real quick. So 1,000. Oh my God, I can't get my phone to open. Jesus.
Yeah, like a typical working year is like 2,000 hours, what people say. So I just figure like half a year basically.
I got you.
Hours. But yeah, you could calculate it out and see. People do it quicker. Like you could definitely do it, but like I'm not. I don't know. I want to at least try my best.
Yeah. So 1,000 hours over 365 days is 2 3/4 hours.
Yeah.
So, and you can divvy that up as you like. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I mean, you could do it quicker. I mean, who's the Australian guy? He got his 2 years ago. Really, he had like a titanium Damascus handle he made. I think of his name. Jackson Rumble.
Oh yeah, Jackson Rumble. Yeah.
I think like he said he made his buoy, like one of his like last buoy in like a week or a few days. Or like,
yeah,
I think you do it, right?
But, yeah, especially if you got all the process. And I think that's the thing that like if you're good, then you're good, and you can be dialed in and you can get it busted out in a few days.
It also depends on like how elaborate you go too. Like, are you just doing a super clean, Damascus Bowie knife? You could probably do that pretty quick, right? At that level. Right. But if you're gonna do like your dagger with like crazy forged guards and like carving or whatever it may be, then
sure
you could spend obscene amount of time.
But, yeah.
Like Jordan Lamoth, I think he said his was about a half a year to do it. His set.
Wow.
He did it over a year because like it got delayed with COVID, so he had more time to work on it. But he said he told me about 1,000-ish hours, and I've heard from several other people too. They made sets that I looked at and like, okay, that's a good looking set,
Yeah, Jordan's stuff was really good.
Oh man,
that's 166 6-hour days.
There you go.
I like a 6-hour day.
That's really all I'm good for, and like actually like concentrating on stuff.
I am too. Like if I try to go beyond 6 hours,
I'm
I'm
screwing up.
either gonna mess something up or or I'm
I mean,
just
I'll work longer, but it'll be like cleaning the shop. You know, it won't be like
sure.
actual knife making. I just can't
Active
concentrate.
time on time. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you. Well, what
Yeah.
have you been up to, man? What are some of the well, actually, so you've been doing some really cool stuff with the pommels that we were just talking about.
Yeah, I guess
Um,
I should have sent you that the slideshow that we did. I did for the hammer.
oh
I could have sent
God,
you.
what were you thinking? No, I'm just joking.
That was dumb. Yeah.
I think you got some pictures on. Oh, here we go.
There's probably some photos.
Yeah. I got this one
Actually,
right here.
I did upload it to a YouTube video. You can skip through it. I have to find a link for it, but
I got an Instagram post right here.
there you go. You saw that knife, I think.
Yeah. Let's see.
Let's see if I
Show
get to
that
the button.
booty.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't do a very good job.
I just remember here. Let me pop out of there, and I'll pop back in, and then I'll pause it.
There you go. There you go.
So, is that mirror polished on the center of it?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh wow!
That's
I was
really
like,
hard to
what?
do that and not when you dome that. You have to dome that silver over and not hit the Corby. That one's just a plain Corby bolt.
Yeah.
But there,
I
you
just
saw
realized
how I did
because it's reflecting. Is just reflecting your T-shirt probably?
Well, it might actually be. It might not be mirror polish, but it's probably like a really super clean, like 1500 grit or 2000 grit. You know, so like there's scratches, but it's like really shiny.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really good look. I really like that a lot. And
yeah,
it's
the one
sleeve, right?
I actually have to fabricate it because they don't make Argentium silver tubing, unfortunately. But it comes out of a flat stock that I'll bend around into a ring.
Okay.
And the cool thing about Argentium is it doesn't fire scale, so you don't even need flux. You just you touch them, you heat it up to. You have to be real careful because you'll melt it. But you heat it up with I use like a little butane, like torch, and they just kind of like fuse together, kind of like the Terminator, the liquid metal Terminator guy. We're just kind of like it sucks together, and then I make it a little undersized, and I'll anneal it, then I'll drift, put a drift through it, and it'll drift right. It'll be strong enough to pull the drift.
What are you using as a drift? Just like an old drill bit?
Drill bit, yes, an old quarter.
Oh my God!
I just kind of like grind the taper on it, polished it, and I drilled a hole in a block of steel and just kind of tap it through.
Yeah, oh, that's great.
And then I got to turn it because the outside's it's gonna be kind of like different. So I'll actually just super glue it onto a Corby. I have a lathe, but I've done it on the mill too, and I just kind of like put it on the mill and just skim the outside to get it so that I could just use a regular off-the-shelf Corby bolt counterbore to drill the hole.
Right. Oh wow, yeah, that's cool.
And the last one I made a Damascus fitting for the last one, which was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I won an award at Blade Show, Texas, from me and Luke Delmeyer did.
Right. Does the inside diameter does it end up being a 1/4 inch or what is it?
I did that because those earlier ones I just used off the shelf Corby bolts, and I like the 1/4 inch ones. And then the silver I put on made it 5/16, so I could use a 5/16 Corby counterbore for it.
I got you.
Yeah, you could kind of. Yeah. He didn't get a great angle.
I see. It's the Damascus. Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those explosions in the end.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
Oh, that's good.
And then when I do the Damascus, I just leave when I push the silver tube in, I leave it long, and I just filled it full of. I use gator piss and then coffee.
Oh, that's so funny.
And then I just blew it out, and then I brought the silver down to the level I wanted.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Yeah, that's smart.
It looks pretty cool in person.
Yeah. And this is the one you guys won the award for.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. He did on that. We did 2 collaborations. On that one, he did the steel, and then I made the knife. Then I sent him a chunk of steel, and he made a fighter out of it.
Oh, nice.
I don't know why I don't have a photo of that one. I probably should, but we have.
Yeah. No, and the handle looks great.
Yeah, this is like the updated version of the one I've been doing. I kind of like slimmed it down towards the back a little bit, and I made a few adjustments.
Well, and I like around like the transition into the handle. It almost looks like a crown. The way those kind of like points come up and down around. I imagine all the way around. It looks really nice.
Yeah, it's my main complaint of that one is they're all super crisp and sharp, and I kind of like softened them to make it comfortable. I kind of overdid it a little bit. It still looks good, but I like them to be a little more crispy.
Right.
But yeah, that might have been before I rounded it there. I don't remember, but
is this a super glue finish? What are you doing here?
It's just like a true oil, letting it soak in.
Yeah.
Just to kind of seal it. That was like African blackwood burl, which I had never used before.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And this is, oh,
You
I
kind
see
of see the silver tube sticking out the bottom in the
yeah.
Corby. That was just a Damascus thing that I cut a slot. I milled a slot through my Damascus fitting so I could turn it on.
Right.
And then
How did you get it to match up just right with the
so that slot in there, I made it go with the pattern the way I wanted it. So when I tightened it, I knew I could tighten it up right there.
Yeah.
And so you take the silver off, you screw that thing in by itself without the silver. There's a gap around the Corby.
Yeah.
Then you grind it, do all your finishing, and then you slide the Corby back on. And then I Loctite it on there so it's not gonna unscrew.
Yeah. Very nice.
But like really, the knife's actually glued together before that point. Like I wax it. Basically, I'll assemble it with wax.
Sure.
Like the Corby, so after it's all glued, I could take it back apart. So really, it's essentially, it's kind of for show. The glue's never gonna let go, but for sure it's not.
Right. Oh, I love it. What kind of progress? Or actually, you have these production knives you're working on that you've been doing.
I'm kind of. They just came in a couple weeks ago.
Partway through the handle sculpting process.
Yeah, so like they come like this. It's what I was showing you yesterday, but I get them ground like this. I don't like. I hate plunge lines on chef knives. It's kind of like a thing for me.
Sure. Yeah, I'm the same way.
And I like to convex them. So the guy said they haven't really ground one this way before, but he kind of said there's no reason we couldn't.
Sure.
So just let's
see.
It puts up to here, then it's distal taper. Oop.
There you go.
Then it's distal taper from here down.
Yeah.
And then they're 12th thou at the edge, and I just I take a 120 belt and take them down to about 4. Yep. And then a few scotch brights, and they come out looking pretty clean, really.
Pretty dang nice.
For
that's hard to be mad about.
It's about 6 minutes of work to get from here to here, not including like the rounding of the spine. That takes about as long as.
Oh yeah.
Like getting in here, I should have made these round ones are kind of hard. I should have made it more of a square one, have been easier, but
nice.
I got 250 of those to deal with over the maybe the next year or so. Just trying to get something at a price point that kind of like people could buy that aren't like really knife nerds. So I'm hoping to get these right around $300.
Yeah, I see. So you hit kind of the general population, people who are into cooking, but not like the super high end.
Yeah. And then like the profit per hour is like way higher than pretty much anything else I make. So like if I can move it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Wage. Yeah, these are the first 4 that I'm working on. This is there's a local knife store called Vivrant, and twice a year he'll get custom handles made, and he'll ship them out to about 4 or 5 makers around the country.
Oh,
well, I'll make our own knife with his handle material, and then he gets them all to sell.
Yeah,
so he's getting the first ones.
What is the handle material?
It's G-Carta or the G.I. Hansen's stuff. So he had a custom block made.
Oh, sorry. I guess. Oh, okay. So he designated the colors and the
he does all this research and figures out the trending colors for the season. He's like a marketing guy. This is his background.
Yeah.
So like these are like the springish summer colors that are trendy in like the fashion world this year. Ooh. So he had that figured out 6 months ago. Had the block made.
Yeah.
And then we all I think he's got most of them. He's got Running Man Forges doing it. I think Acre Forge might be doing some.
Okay. Yeah.
Baldwin Blades out of Chicago does some.
Right.
That might be it. But this is like the first trial run with these production ones to finish them out.
Yeah, it's super cool. Like the patterning, I love the GL Hansen stuff. Just because I don't know, it has kind of like the organic activity that the Damascus pattern would have, but it's in the handle material, and he does a really good job.
To finish. It's a lot of work to finish it, but
yeah. What are your tricks to finishing it? Because I think I found you have to use sharp belts, so that you're not smearing, even though it's like cured and everything. Like I don't know, you can accidentally cloud up the finish.
You run into these like dry pockets, right? Like I don't know if it's like the epoxy hasn't fully soaked in or if it's just the fabric interacting with it. But you'll sand it and like it'll look beautiful at like 600. You go to like 1,000, and then you see like a white patch, which kind of looks like crap. I don't understand how to deal with it. I mean, you could take a lot of time and really sand it for hours.
Yeah.
Those handles are just all done on the disc sander, and there's almost no hand sanding. I just put True Oil on it, and it soaks into those dry spots, and it looks pretty good.
Nice.
I'll take it up to 1,000 on my disc grinder, like all those facets. I have a foot switch on my disc grinder, so I could kind of like get the facet on there, get it going, let go of the foot pedal, and then take it off without having to, try to get it perfect on there while it's running, which is doable. But
interesting. A foot pedal on the disc grinder.
Yep. I actually have a 2-position foot pedal, so if I step on the right, the disc goes right. If I step on the left, the disc goes left.
Whoa.
Both sides.
Is that a fancy electrician trick that you figured out?
Yeah, I put about a bunch of other people's grinders for him,
Right.
Not a bunch, but like 4 or 5 people. Because it kind of changes the way you use a disc grinder. You'll use it for like, even like the face of a guard.
You can almost like throttle it, right?
Well, this is just on or off. You got to change the speed with the knob. You could do that theoretically if you could find a 2-position foot switch that was the right kind. But that kind of works. But like even like a face of a guard, you can put it on there, get it flat, like hit the foot pedal for a second, let go, and then pull it off, and you're not gonna like little tiny things, or like even your handles, like your faceted handles. You could I take them all the way up to 1,000 grits. There's essentially no handwork,
Oh my god.
Afterwards, the foot switches, you can do it without the foot switch, but that's kind of like cheating. Like it's pretty.
You feel like the foot switch is cheating?
Yeah. You can do
I think it's working smart.
It is. Yeah. I've had it for like 10 years, and I just thought it was like a me thing. And then I showed it to a few people, and they're like, oh man. So I put a few other ones together for people.
You should figure out, you can work with Brian House on
I should
developing a switch that people can put together themselves.
I actually reached out to the Ameribraid guys because I'm like, I kind of don't want to like be like, a producer of these things. I'm like, here's a great idea. And he's like, cool. And then,
Oh, interesting.
I think if you're a knife maker, and unless you've seen it work, you don't really get the utility of it until you see it. And then you're like, oh man, what are those things?
That's a good point. Yeah. Especially with, I can see that being really handy with guards, or even with the blade. Like sometimes positioning the blade can be really tricky. Especially if you're working up to an actual plunge line or something like that.
Yeah, like you get right up in there, touch the plunge line, then hit the foot pedal, then kind of move up and down, ride your plunge line, and then back off. Or really little facets, like the one you showed with like me and the rain kind of holding the knife around. That handle was fully done. That one had no inside curves on it really, except like a little part. It was almost all done on the grinder up to like 1,200.
Oh wow!
So it's just like when I do like Japanese handles. All done on the disc. I'll rough it out on the like a 36 and go right to like a 80 grit or 120 on the disc, and take it right up to like 800.
That's a good move.
Yeah.
Brian Hunt says also on the G Carter, if you don't use sharp belts, it will tear the material instead of cutting it, which leads to some of the cloudy look. That's a good point. I have a bad habit of being too precious with my belts, and I really, especially with certain handle materials. The G Carter stuff included. I just got to use sharp belts.
I could imagine. Like I haven't really done much mammoth. I'm assuming that kind of horn bone. I imagine it would probably be super useful. I'm bad at it too. Like
even ironwood. If you try to sculpt ironwood with a belt that's too dull, you're just gonna start burning it.
Yeah.
Even cocobolos, depending on the density, and those denser, kind of like more resin-rich woods. I find
like the rosewood kind of vibe. Even like African blackwood's in that same boat. It's like real oily and it kind of like clogs up.
Yeah,
really sharp and like kind of light pressure. If you have to push hard, you're going to burn it.
Yeah, and it causes you to go a little bit slower or use up belts that you don't want to use. But at the same time, if you're getting the job done and you're getting it done right, you're actually probably saving yourself a little bit more time than you think.
Yeah, I mean, I just burnt an edge yesterday. It was not a good day. I'm like, I want to grind. I have this art show coming up.
Oh no!
I had a whole pile of these Japanese blades again. I like to forge them. I just didn't want to finish them. I'm like, now I have a reason to finish them. And I got pushing. I'm like, man, the belt's just not moving. I look down. I'm like, oh, that's blue. You're going to be a small knife in the future.
Yeah. You just got to pull the edge back. That's all.
Yeah, it'll never happen. I mean, it'll just sit in the bucket with the rest of them. If you want a wind chime or something someday,
put them on a wind chime. Hey, that's my idea. Stop taking it.
That's where I got it from.
Okay. We got another question in the chat. Brian says, since the material is getting small, fraying on the area that have voids.
Yeah, I think he's saying like there's pockets of that fabric where like the resin maybe isn't fully soaked in, so it kind of like moves the fabric.
So then instead of cutting through, it's like
flopping it around or something.
Yeah, it's like dragging it and tearing it rather than cutting it.
Yeah, and you can keep sanding. You'll usually get through it, but I just
Sure.
put True Oil on it once it gets to like 1,000, and it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Then it kind of soaks into those, like if you have any like 1 or 2 of those little light spots, then you just kind of get past it that way.
Yeah, man. Wait, are you gonna be a Blade show this year?
No, I wanted to, because I was gonna try to get a table and have these production things, but they didn't come in till late. And we have a big art show here that I'll probably do better at anyways. And
that's a good point.
To do well at Blade show, it's just kind of,
yeah.
Unless you're like someone who happens to be in demand, like it's just not the crowd.
Yeah.
So yeah, they close down the streets. There's a local knife store that he lets us set up in for free. We even get to use his. He charges us 5% if we use his register, which is kind of cool.
Right.
I don't have to deal with sales tax or any of that.
Yeah.
And I think like 400,000 people come through that weekend through that town. So the trick is just getting them to come into the store, because they want to be out, in the streets. But we just go hammer and make noise, and then people like.
That's over at Joseph's place at Vivron.
Yep, exactly, Vivron.
Yeah.
Yep. It's like a pretty like well-to-do neighborhood, one of the higher end neighborhoods. That's what they say. I don't know. That's what they say. I don't know if that's actually true, but it's. I mean, you can't walk in the streets, and it's like 4 blocks, and it's like.
Oh my god, that sounds like a nightmare. It sounds like a lot of people.
Yeah. Luckily, we're in the store, so I don't have to deal with it. They just come in.
Yeah.
He's got a pretty cool store. He's got a back and an alleyway entrance and a front, so people just kind of like cut through it, and then.
Oh, interesting
stuff. I did pretty well for it was kind of impromptu last year. I only had a couple weeks boarding.
Right.
We had like 5 makers there last year.
I got you. Who's going to be there this year besides you?
Me, North Star Forge, Jason Kraus. He'll be there like Friday. He can't do the other 2 days. Unita. He's like a production guy. He does mostly like EDC stuff. He's local.
Okay.
Stefan.
Nice.
Hall Made Knives. Stefan Hall Made Knives. He'll be there. He's like a chef knife guy too.
Yeah.
And there might be one other guy. I'm not sure. I think he might not be able to make it. So we have less this year than last year, so we'll have a little more.
And what's the date on that?
The same weekend as Blade Show, unfortunately. So it's the 6th, 7th, 8th. That's why I'm not going. Otherwise, I'd be at Blade Show.
No, that's right. I'm sorry. You just said that. Yeah. But you're right,
though.
Last
year was like a weekend after, and this year they lined up, unfortunately, at whatever that I would have gotten both. But
sure. Yeah, you made a good point, though. You're probably going to do better at that art show rather than a Blade show.
Yeah, for sure.
Is your computer talking to you right now?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. I don't know how you silence it. Not silencing you, I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I don't know how to do that either. We'll just ignore it.
Yeah.
Pretend it's not happening. It's not bothering me. Anyways. Okay, so you got the production stuff, the Japanese stuff. So you just had that award with that with the collaboration with Luke.
Yeah.
Do you have any other projects like that coming up?
So that one, we haven't really posted. We tried to sell it to Texas, but again, chef knives don't do well.
Not the ideal show for that.
Yeah. So I kind of was saving it for the art show, because I sold one like that last year there. I just took a class with Salem Straub probably like 2 months ago. Me and Luke took that class together, which was cool. So I couldn't finish that one up this week. We'll see.
Yeah.
And then I'll be at the David Lish Invitational. In the fall, so I'm going to hopefully get a couple high-end things done for that.
And that's at the end of September, right?
It's September. I don't know. I
can look
sometime in September. I think you might be right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love making the high-end stuff. I just don't, I don't sell them quick enough, so I usually make one, and then when it sells, I'll make another one, kind of thing.
I got you.
And then the Japanese ones, those are still pretty fun to make, and they actually pay pretty well, really.
Yeah.
For how quick you can pump them out.
So September 13th.
There you go, mid-September. So I'll get one going this summer. I got a couple pattern ideas I have sketched out that are not just your patterns.
I
kind of went through a phase mosaic was kind of new to me, so just trying other people's patterns. Like I did some of your stuff, a couple from Jordan Lamoth, some ideas he had, and just kind of like I guess my own spins to put on stuff now.
I mean, to be fair, I feel like it's a natural thing. I mean, you took the class, but you were also already kind of doing some of the mosaic stuff. Because you're actually part of the Patreon, right? As well as probably seeing some of the Pattern Model Wednesday stuff that I'd done in the past
over the years.
And so like people feel bad about not doing their own stuff, but the reality is, like, honestly, most makers are not doing anything too incredibly original.
No.
Um, and but I think part of that is I think that's totally fine because you're trying to achieve a particular aesthetic without
Yeah.
and it's not necessarily everybody's strong suit to come up with original
Yeah.
pattern designs and concepts and stuff like that. But if you are a person who is looking to try to explore that, the best way to start is by modeling the stuff that other people.
Work from a known quantity that you know that part's gonna look cool, and then you work on your forge welding skills or, like, the
Yeah.
rest of the skills, and then
Yeah, and you can, and honestly, like, even going through the process of one of my patterns or somebody else's patterns, I'm sure like even taking the class with Salem, that opened your eyes to a few different forging processes
yep,
or mixing up some of the order of operations that create unusual pattern design or line movement that you hadn't seen before.
exactly, and I
Yeah.
think a lot of it's just, like, coming up like, if you could get to the point where, like, you can make a pattern and people look at it and know it's probably you made it, I think that's a cool spot to be in if you could get down to that point. And like you said, most everything's kind of been done, like, the general movements, it's just how you put them together, like, you know,
Yeah.
like like, a lot of your stuff is like what's cool about it is like, it's usually like 3 or 4 welds. Like there's not a lot of welds for like a really cool looking pattern.
Right.
It's just the way that you put it together is kind of
Yeah.
generally unique, most of them.
Yeah. Yeah, there's probably on some of my patterns, there's almost as much cleanup and prep time as there is um, in welding
Yeah.
versus a lot of other patterns. Just way more forging time because they're
Oh yeah.
going through many, many, many forging cycles of some upward. I think I saw one pattern that had probably at least 9 forge welding cycles in it,
Yep.
and that adds up
Well,
like
yeah, and then
a
they're
lot.
doing like four-way, explosions and like all these like crazy things, and it's like that's a lot of time and a lot of wasted steel, and
Yeah.
you know, there's something to
Well,
be said about
that's
keeping it simple.
that's my biggest thing is I hate feeling like I'm starting with a specific quantity of material, and every time I go through a forge welding cycle, I'm losing at least a few cubic inches of it.
Yep.
Yeah, at least 2, maybe 3 cubic inches of it,
Probably, yeah.
depending. Yeah. And so I realized the only way to as well as the grinding and cleanup work. And so I'm like, the only way to avoid that is to go through fewer welding cycles. So by kind of pigeonholing myself in a way, I'm like, okay, what can I do in 3 weld cycles? What can I do in 2 weld cycles? What can I do in 1 weld cycle?
Yeah.
There's unfortunately not a ton you can do. But in 2, like, you can do an interesting pattern, and then in a second weld, make a mosaic billet, and then on the third weld those tiles, and you can and that's just in 3 welds.
Yeah, you could
You
do
can
like
make
the
some
first knife
really
you
interesting
saw of
stuff.
mine back in Connecticut, that was I think probably 2. That was just like a low layer get stacked up, re-squared to like an
Yeah.
S, and then just, the whole serpentine snake thing down the blade.
Right,
So that
right.
was, a reorientation and then butt welds.
Yeah.
And I mean, it wasn't like the coolest thing in the world, but people like it.
Right, right, right.
If I would have had
Yeah.
higher layers, it probably would have looked pretty cool. Or if you stacked it up with a gradient, like that changes the kind of the game too. All this gradient stuff that like so
Yeah.
you and like Jamie were talking about several years ago, and then now like Gabe's kind of ran with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Jamie and I had talked about it, but Peter was actually Peter Swarsbert was
Okay.
first person I know of that did the gradient as a proof of concept of many conversations that he and I had had. And then once he proved it, I was like, holy shit, because it was just like theoretical. I was like, what does
Yeah.
it actually present like? And it worked great. And so from there, this was like, okay, we need to really kind of deep dive with this. Um, Actually, I had Dennis Tyrell taking a class up here a couple months ago now. Um, but that was one thing that he really was kind of blown away by, and he's going to start doing a bit of exploration with himself. And I
I think
think
you're going to see a
eventually,
lot of that in the next year or so. People.
yeah, yeah, and I got a few more things that I want to do with it, and then I think I'm going to go work with Dennis go down to California and make a video with him, just talking about my approach and stuff like that.
Absolutely, yeah. He's coming out. He's gonna be the guy doing the hammer in.
Oh, nice. Yeah. What's that again? It's the Midwest Knife Makers
Guild. We have like a big hammer in
right
September-ish. I don't know. I'm bad with dates.
Somewhere in September.
I can't look at my phone because I'm using it for the camera. But yeah.
Oh yeah. And then you guys have a knife show near that time, right?
Yeah. It's a new show. We're trying to get it off the ground. It's trying to. It's a big city. It should support it. It's just getting people to come. We've had it for 2 years now, 3.
Yeah.
So it's getting a little bit bigger.
It's not in September. It's August 15th to 16th.
Okay, maybe the show's in September. But,
okay.
Forget. Yeah. There you go. It's all in the fall, sometime around then. We do a local knife show and a bunch of little hammer-ins, throughout the year, just kind of get-togethers.
Yeah. Okay, so the knife show is at the end of September 26th and 7th. Yeah, and then the hammer-in follows a couple weeks after that.
There you go.
Yeah.
So cool. It's cool. We do it down at USA Knife Maker at their headquarters, so it's kind of cool. You get to go and buy a bunch of stuff, and they're probably one of the biggest suppliers. Yep, the Mankato, one of the bigger suppliers in the country. So it's kind of cool just to browse around and actually see stuff.
Sure.
Spend too much money.
Yeah, I think especially when I first started out, USA Knife Maker was I guess a great resource. Also, not just of supplies, but also for trying to understand like even abrasives. They have like on their abrasives page, they have kind of a breakdown of the different abrasives and what the different types of abrasives do, whether it's aluminum oxide or silicon carbide or ceramic or a blend of some of them, and the J-Flex versus the X, Y, and I can't remember what other weights there are. But
they do a good job, and they were kind of early to the game of like a modern, very knife maker centric website. There were other people who had them around then, like Jans and stuff, but the website's just not up to the same standard.
Yeah.
They have a little bit of it. They're not the cheapest, but they got everything, which is kind of like pretty handy at times.
Well, in Mankato, where they're located, is known as the home of the Little Giant power hammer.
Yeah, that's where they were made. I think we talked about trying to figure something out. We were down there, but we never looked into it. They got to have something there.
Yeah, I think. Oh gosh, I can't remember. I feel terrible. I can't remember his name right now. That's running. Luke. Yeah.
Luke Hoff. Yeah, it's Tracy Mickley's son-in-law.
Son-in-law. Yeah. He was saying that there's a shop not far down the road that has a bunch of power hammers.
Oh.
I think that's what he was saying.
Probably,
but I think he was saying that there wasn't really much of like an official museum or anything, which is too bad because it's too bad because I think not only do a lot of knife makers use those power hammers, but blacksmiths as well. They had a pretty serious impact on smith's ability to move material and texture material and
I mean stuff. It was like the everyday's hammer, especially like the 25, like a lot of little farms had them just for like sharpening like plowshares and stuff. They just forged them back out. That's kind of what they did. They were everywhere.
When I was visiting Bill Burke one time, he had a little 25-pound Little Giant, and I didn't think much of it. I'd never forged on a power hammer that small before, because up to that point, I'd worked under presses and I'd worked under like a 500-pound Little Giant and a 120 Samac and a bunch of other bigger power hammers. And I saw this dinky little 25-pounder. I didn't think anything of it, but he had a flat die on the bottom die, and then kind of a not necessarily a rounding die, but just like a forging hammer or a die that looked like a standard forging hammer.
Like a Japanese power hammer setup.
And he set it up like a Japanese hammer. And he's like, you can forge some blades if you like, but you have to use this Crew Forge V. And I was like, ugh, Crew Forge V is the worst. I heated it up. I forged it under that little hammer. And oh my God, did it move that material like butter. It was crazy.
They're fast. They're cool. I mean, so I had a tire hammer, a 50-pound tire hammer that probably wouldn't move as much. It had a lot of control. Like you could really hit lightly with it, but it wouldn't move steel like the little 25-pound because they hit like like crazy fast, man. Those dies are cool. I imported an Anyang would have been like last fall, and I had like a custom die, a top die made just that style. It's like kind of like a round, but they left it flat, and I kind of domed it myself. I've been kind of playing with it for the Japanese stuff. It's pretty cool. Like pretty neat the way you can watch it. Just kind of like you watch the blade come down, you go up, and you really like you forge it in all directions. It's pretty controllable, actually.
Yeah, well, and I think it never. I was like, why is that working so well? I don't understand what's happening. And then it dawned on me. I was like, oh my god, all it's doing is replicating what I'm doing on an anvil with a hand hammer, but it's under a power hammer.
It's like a powered rounding hammer, basically. You know?
Yeah, and it's just like, oh my god, this makes so much sense. I need to have one of these.
Yeah, they're cool. Yeah, Mert Tanzu has one on his. He has an Anyang in Australia, and I kind of contacted him about like, how do I get this, you know? And he's like, just ask them in China. They'll make you whatever you want. So when I ordered my hammer, I asked him. It was like $200 to have that made, custom machined. So wow, kind of like a no-brainer, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Oh my god.
I don't know, probably more than that now. But who knows what shipping would be? I lucked out because it came with the hammer, but
right.
You could probably have one. I know you got the 68 Anyang, right? You could probably get one pretty.
I got a 55.
Yeah, the 55. Oh yeah,
I got
they call it a 68 now, but it's just
I think mine's the older version. It's a 38.
I think they didn't really change anything. They just changed the way they named it. So they used to count just like the RAM. Now they count the die weight and something else. So it's just, from what I understand, it's the same hammer. So I have like the 106. Really? It used to be the 88, but I think it's essentially the same hammer.
I forged on one of those then.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's what I'm told. Anyways, I don't know for sure, but I don't think they changed much. Just the way.
Ian Rogers has one of those hammers.
Yeah, if you use an 88, then you use a 106.
Yeah.
That's what I got because it was like about $1,000 more to go from the 68 to the 106, and I'm like, well, at that point,
since I'm already here, might as well.
Already spending $10,000, or I was spending $9,000 if I got the small one, so it was $10,000 to get the big one, which is pretty good.
Yeah. Sorry, I need coffee. Shoot, I was gonna open this up.
Dude, what is?
Your phone is going crazy.
Maybe we turn off notifications. Yeah, I don't know. I know if I leave it, I'm gonna get screwed all up.
Yeah. Where are we at? Okay, so you got some collaborations coming up. You've been forging. That's so cool that you got those top die. I really want to. I think I have an older Anyang, like I said, and it doesn't have like the spot where bolts can pass through.
Okay.
And I don't know why. Jeez, I wonder what that is.
It's the cameras. There's someone's driving around out there, cutting grass, so it keeps picking them up when they.
Oh.
Through, but I don't know.
I think we're just gonna have to live with it. It's fine.
Yeah, I could figure it out, but now it's not the time to figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think the only way that I could do something like that would be to make a collar, because my power hammer, the head recesses into the top.
Oh yeah, so you have to have the short keys, right? That don't stick out past.
Yeah, so I have to have short keys, and so I can't really add a top die to that thing.
Well, you just take the die out and then you replace it with a new die because you just have like a flat die on the top.
Yeah,
with like a dovetail in it. Yeah, you just you knock the dovetail out, pull the whole die out, and you just put a new one, put that one right in there.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, the guy I got it from there, I got mine. My hammer is an Anyang ST, which is like the competitor to the other Anyang that was coming here.
More than one Anyang company?
There's like 5 of them because the city's called Anyang.
So, oh my god, I didn't even know.
Yeah, they're all like the same. They're all pretty much the same hammer. They're based off some Russian hammer from like the 60s, you know. So I got mine. I got the ST because at the time the Anyang, the other Anyangs, the one you have, couldn't be imported anymore because they were selling stuff to Russia apparently, or I don't know the details, but they got put on the sanctions list. So then I'm like, well, I guess I'm not getting that one. So
hammer.
I was like literally about to order one from James, you know, in Texas, James Johnson, I think, and then that kind of happened. He had a whole container he had to send back. It arrived at the port right when that went into effect, and he had to ship them all back because he couldn't accept them.
Oh my god, I can't even imagine.
So I got one at his competitor, which there was like lawsuits back in the day. I don't know. I think they're all the same hammer, anyways. But so I imported it myself right from China. It was actually like $4,000 cheaper than getting it through him, anyways, because you know, which makes sense because he obviously has to make money dealing with all that.
Yeah, for sure.
but it was like 10 grand, and they took care of the shipping and everything all the way to my place. Like that was all inclusive, taxes, tariffs. It was like 10,200, and I got like 4 extra sets of dies with it too.
Oh, wow.
Kind of a pretty good deal.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually changing out the dies is surprisingly easy on them. I like it a lot compared to other hammers I've had to do that
Yeah,
with.
exactly. I think like you said, your top die is a little annoying because you have to like probably use another one to pound it through, right? Because they're
Yeah. Yeah, I
or like
have to
mine
use
stick
like a
out.
punch.
Yeah, like mine stick out, so I can just have extra long dies. I can just tap them right out. It takes like seconds. But yeah, I could put you in contact with that guy. He'd probably do one for like a few $100. Just tell him what your hammer is, and they would have all the dimensions.
Right.
Stop cutting grass.
JB from Liberato Forge says, "What's up?" By the way, I don't know if you've been following JB. JB's
been
doing some good work. Yeah. He's a good guy. He's probably actually watching the live stream right now. Just for some reason, it's always, every time I get a message from him afterwards, he's like, "Hey, I was watching the live, but I couldn't get the message through."
Interesting.
But
maybe he's watching it in the Discord app, not actually on the on the YouTube website or something.
Yeah, it's always tricky. I'm still figuring it all out because if you click the link on the Patreon and then you click on the frame and you hit YouTube, it'll take you to the actual live stream. It's just unlisted right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't see any comments in there right now. So I guess we're all good.
Yeah, who knows?
Anyhow. God, what else? Do you have, let's see. Do you do other shows other than the I guess the Minnesota stuff or the art show?
Yeah, I haven't done much. I'm trying to. I think this year, my plan was to start doing like food festival and stuff this summer. I just I didn't really plan for it, so I'm gonna try to do some. But in the past, no, I've just done some like local shows and stuff. And
you just got that year-round state fair going on in Minnesota.
Yeah, it's hard to get into that one. I don't even know how you'd get into that with that kind of thing. They're real picky. Even like the food there, like you have to audition your food to be accepted.
Oh,
take it like real serious. It's a big deal. Yeah.
All right, you're probably better off as Vivant, anyways.
No. Well, no. If you can get in there, you probably there's a lot of foot traffic. You'd probably
but
yeah, I'm gonna look into more of that. Over now that I have 200 knives I have to sell, or 250 knives I'll have to sell in the next year. I'll figure something out. I'm gonna get in a few stores and hopefully build up actual following online and sell them myself would be ideal.
Yeah. What's your strategy for that?
I'm still kind of like dabbling in how I think I just need to start actually, because I don't post much as you see. I need to really start posting like process stuff and kind of like just build up a following. I think a following of people that are interested in what I'm doing, not necessarily just like other knife makers, which is most of the problem most of us have is almost all my followers are just knife makers.
Right. Yeah, no, I feel that and experience that. But I was actually surprised, like when I first, I mean, this was a while ago, and obviously algorithms and stuff have changed, but like the first 25, 30,000 followers I gained were just like showing my process, which I thought I was doing just for clients, but actually I had it. But the other was true, that it just kept being makers kept like chiming in and being really excited about it, and and sharing posts and saving stuff, and that kind of engagement I think helped the content to reach other people who are non-makers and potential clients, and then those people were learning from those posts, and then they were sharing it with other people, and it just kept growing and growing from there. And so even I think just making content that is engaging in some way, not just visually compelling and interesting to watch, but compels somebody to like it, to comment on it, to save it, to share it with somebody else. And the more the content receives that kind of interaction, the more people it's going to reach, because the algorithm is going to start seeing that. And even if it's only sending out to more makers, eventually it might be going out to other potential buyers and stuff like that, especially if you do
break out that bubble of knife makers. You probably then it can start to expand once you get out there.
Well, you just got to do like Neil Kamimura and start doing some cooking content, and then do some What is does Joseph over at Vivant? Does he have a kitchen of some sort?
They don't. No, they mostly they'll bring in like a little portable, thing
I got
sometimes
you.
for doing stuff. But he does classes and he'll like bring like knife skill stuff. But
Yeah,
he loves doing that kind of stuff. So he's got ideas too. But
yeah, yeah,
I was
yeah.
also thinking trying to maybe see if I could get in touch with a couple local chefs and like maybe get like there's some pretty well known people and just get like a little collaboration-y things going on.
Yeah, for sure.
Just kind
No,
of get
there's
out
some
to their
very
followers,
talented.
which are not knife maker followers, which would be nice.
Right. Is Gavin Kaysen's over in Minnesota, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a super talented chef.
Yeah. So there,
Um,
there's people. So
yeah, yeah. Well, and even like, God, what's his name? Grant Atchett.
I
I
don't know
think
if
he's
I know.
over Grant Atchett. He owns Alinea in Chicago,
Okay.
which is I think it was like rated the #1 restaurant in the world,
Oh man.
like a few years back, and maybe is still one of the top restaurants in the world.
Yeah.
But I saw a post a while back where he had a. I don't even know where they got this sword from. It
Oh
almost
geez.
looks like a mall ninja kind of sword, but
Uh-huh.
it was like a claymore. But
Oh.
they were serving like a course came out on the sword.
Oh well. Hey, that's a good use for it, right?
Yeah, beyond it's not what battle ready or something like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
but
Whatever.
you can
Yeah.
serve food on it. Yeah. But he could be another person. But I think he's probably I don't know. Chefs like that can be
Once
interesting
you
to
get to
interact
a
with.
certain level, then it's like kind of like
Yeah.
it can be. Also, I think like Matt Baldwin, he's in Chicago. He's actually not that well known online, but he's like pretty. All the chefs in Chicago kind of have his stuff.
Oh, really?
We,
That's
we
great.
sell him at the store. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I think
Baldwin Blades on Instagram.
that's the trick for honestly like most makers is just like whoever your target group is, you just got to figure out how to get to them and whether that's through retail sales, whether that's through if you can afford to do it, giving a piece away here and there or discounting a piece.
That's
I
probably. I mean,
really try
these
to
production
discourage
ones.
people.
Luckily, I have some money built in. I'm gonna, I'll get a few of them out there, and hopefully something,
Yeah.
comes out of it. And
Right.
you know, so
Yeah.
it's people respect and they can cut something with it, and you can see it cut and be like, oh, actually,
It's tricky
right.
these days. I sometimes actually I kind of like I think about yeah, what the hell would I do if I had to start now?
I kind of dropped the ball because I hardly did any Instagram until the last couple of years, and
Right.
it was so much easier to grow, like pre whatever the Instagram, whatever they call it, Instagram apocalypse or whatever,
It's
Um,
apocalypse. Yeah.
even still now, like I have to if I go to any of the business accounts, they just start posting all my flags or flagging all my posts. If I stay as a
Really?
personal, I don't flag anything, so I just stay at personal.
Right. Oh, interesting.
I don't know why that is, but yeah, I'll try to switch to like creator or like the business. Then I'll send it a flag one, and then you
Yeah.
dispute it. It takes a week, and you're like, screw it, I'll just delete it. As soon as you delete it, another one, next one down gets flagged, just in order. It's weird.
Interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think I have a few flags right now. I haven't looked in a while,
yeah.
but
You're at a big of enough following where it kind of you're past the point where
well, and it's
it
silly though, the flags. Like one of the flags that I had or have had before, it's like a video of the handle. Like
yeah,
I'm just showing a picture of a video of the handle, and it's like this goes against Instagram guidelines. I have
yeah,
10 of them right now.
yeah,
Edit or remove.
yeah. If you edit it, it doesn't matter. Like you don't know what to edit, right? Like they
Yeah,
don't tell
most
you.
of these ones are all blades. The actual blade. One is actually a close up of a Damascus pattern. Actually,
Yeah,
three or four of them are close ups of Damascus patterns. Like so, if you can't even tell that they're actually knives.
no, they don't tell you what's wrong. So what are you gonna fix? Because they don't know
Yeah,
either. It's all AI or whatever.
it's tricky, but yeah, it's what. Yeah, the who is it? Dennis did a. I actually haven't seen his video that I think he posted it or podcast from the what is it the Triple T podcast a while back about talking to Instagram. Did you ever
Oh,
catch
okay.
that one?
No, I didn't. I didn't know he was able to talk to him.
Yeah, he did. He had a conversation with somebody from Instagram about the
Interesting.
algorithm and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, there are plenty of other ways, and Instagram was great while it was, but like honestly,
Just
the
a different
reality,
thing, right?
the tried and true are just doing markets, doing shows, working with retailers,
Yep.
um, basically kind of doing collaborations, um, and actually, especially for knife makers, again, like I hate advising people to give away free product because I know how hard it can be, especially as a new maker.
Yeah.
But if for some reason you are in the position to be able to offer some work to somebody who might be able to actually help build up
Yeah.
awareness for your work. And I think you don't just give it to them though. Like there should be a clear understanding. I think
This is
something
what
that
you're getting for it. Yeah.
yeah, I think something that Jeff Fader does that really helps to keep, and it still can be a struggle, but he does these collaborations with the different chefs. But if you're a hunting knife maker, you can do a collaboration with like a hunting knife
Yeah,
or a
exactly.
hunting person,
Mhm.
or other kind of knives, whatever you're doing. Like there are plenty of those people out there who have visibility. But I think what Jeff does well is that he gets them invested because they are helping to design the knife and their
Yeah.
name's going to be on the knife, and a portion of the sales goes to a nonprofit of their choosing
Mhm.
and stuff like that. And so
Yeah.
all those things help to encourage that maker, at least ideally, to help to promote them and create awareness and content. But honestly, I think a lot of that is still going to fall back on the maker of the knife to
Yeah.
make content around the project, and then
Yeah.
add the chef as a collaborator
Yeah.
so that
Exactly.
you get that visibility that you're wanting.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good model that
Yeah,
seems to be doing pretty well for him,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
kinda like especially now with these production ones, like, I could give those away, like, it's not too bad, like, really, like, time, like, I think these
Like free
blades are
popcorn at a movie.
yeah, like, $38 a blade was not to this point, heat
Yeah,
treated steel, everything. It's not too bad, really, compared to the time you would have to put in abrasives grinding one of those.
sure, sure, sure.
Time heat treating it yourself, heat treat
Right.
foil, all that.
Yeah.
Pretty good,
You
time-wise.
where are you getting the are you getting the knives heat treated at Peters or?
So I went through a company called Larkin Precision. They do the grinding, and
Yep.
they actually had the best price in AEBL I could find in the country anyway. So I just had
Oh,
them do the laser cutting, and they have a local company, I guess, out by you. They're probably in Tacoma
okay.
that does the heat treating. And if I did it again, I'd probably have them mail them to Peters, just because like
Okay.
these guys they did a nice job, but then like Peters, like they
Right.
pretty much really own the knife industry. So
Yeah.
would have been about the same price, I think. It was kind of nice. I just mailed them a check and like it was all just it was it. Like I didn't have to
Yeah,
do any like logistics.
for sure.
Um, but yeah, they're like 62 Rockwell. I told them like I wanted them, like 61.5 to 62.5, and they're all right around like 62, which is kind of nice for AEBL. I like that around there.
Yeah.
Um, and this it's about as hard as they could get it in industry setting. Like myself, I could get it up a little bit, like another extra point out of it, but like that's just doing
Right.
one at a time with quench plates, and like they're in, doing 200 at a time. That's pretty good.
For sure.
And I've
I got
tested
to
about 10% of the batch, and they're all in that range.
Yeah, yeah. I just came across this post on your Instagram. I'm gonna pull up, and I wonder if you can talk to us about what's going on here.
Oh yeah, that was actually that journeyman knife from the set. The little
Okay, the little
so on that,
hunter.
yeah, little hunter. Yep, that was me being anal on my journeyman
About
set and having everything laid out really perfect.
yeah,
I
yeah.
actually surface ground the bolster parallel is what I did. Um,
Okay,
so that like the blade is all co-planar or whatever, and in the middle of the
yeah,
bolster.
I
And
got
then I
you.
just kind of rigged up this aluminum block to a 123 block. Then I have a little height gauge with a pencil. I could raise it up in it. I put a bunch of marks just for reference for when I'm shaping it, so that I had like there's no question that it's not symmetrical.
Yeah,
I use that on
interesting.
like the ABS, like the you just use shorter bolts, and you can clamp a ricasso in there too on like a regular knife with plunge lines, like a buoy or something.
Sure.
Same deal. You could grab your whole handle, and you could like go around your blade. And even on the integrals now, I do it where I have a jack screw in the front of that, so I could actually tilt the block a little bit to make up for like
Oh,
the taper on the bolster of the integral. I just kind of
oh
put
wow.
rubber, and I'll just make sure the edge is the same around, and then I know
Yeah,
the handle's going to be good.
yeah. Cool.
Yeah, but it's just some of my layout stuff. Very Nick Wheeler-esque. I learned a lot reading his early like blade form stuff.
Oh, did he do something like this for layout lines?
Probably. I mean, I don't know if this is an original idea. I maybe like made it work with the stuff I have, but he used to do stuff like that where he would like clamp it down and scribe lines around the handles and stuff like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and sorry, let me go back to that. I lost it.
Yeah.
There we go. So when you surface ground the integral bolster to the blade, how did you figure out what was center?
Oh, I put it on. I have a magnetic chuck. I put it on, like I kind of ground one. I got it like so like it was pretty flat. Then I just kind of like put wedges of like washers and stuff under the tang and the blade to kind of like get it, parallel. And then I ground the other side, and then I was able to flip it and stick it down really nice to the other side on the ground. I didn't go real light, so it didn't fly off.
Sure,
it's tricky. But honestly, if you just like took calipers, you could probably just like bump it up to the flat plate and then take a bunch of measurements and get it close enough to kind of do that. It was almost not worth it to surface grind it on an integral anyway. Like on like a buoy or a hunter, it's easy. All those guys do that. You just do the whole, slap it down there. Maybe throw a wedge if you need it. Integrals are tricky.
Yeah,
it would be cool. I've had ideas for like a jig that kind of clamps it, but again, like I don't need to spend a week making a thing to do something. Like
what?
I just do it. Yeah,
I got jigs out the yazoo, man. I'll tell you. Because you with Jordan. Oh, this is the Journeyman Smith.
Yep, that's when we did that. Yeah. Oh, this would have been this was actually at Ashokan after I did the test, but
I got you.
But I'm sure there's more photos. We did the tests at his shop like right before the Ashokan.
Whoa, that's a good. What is this thing? Kitchen.
So one of those guys wanted one of those like what were those like the things that were popular? Those camp chef knives, those Serbian cleaver things.
Oh,
this guy
God.
like really wanted one. I didn't really want to make it, and then it was kind of ugly. It was like a special request thing, but it was kind of like a functional version of one of those kind of, but
and this almost looks like a sax, right?
Yeah, kind of.
And there's a style of Japanese knife. I cannot remember what it's called right now, but it has this type of blade where it starts narrow at the heel and then widens out, and it actually has like a sax kind of aesthetic.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I just thought it was like some weird thing the guy wanted.
Well, and whether or not they actually knew what they were doing is a different question, but I'm sure it cuts great. I think the trick is still maintaining the proper relationship. Like you saw the chef's knife design class that I taught at the Hammer In. I think there's a particular relationship you want to have in regards to the handle to the edge profile, but then outside of that, you can kind of play with the shape of the blade, the overall shape of the blade and stuff like that.
But I will say this one is not that, because the guy wanted to like hack through like, I don't know, it was like a weird situation. Like you can see the handle
so it's
a little too much for the edge. Like so like the end of that handle pretty much hits when the corner hits, or like this is kind of how it worked out. It was weird.
Yeah.
Very weird request, which I don't usually do those. That's the pre-bend.
This is before you bent it?
Yep, that's pre-bent.
Pre-bent. Yeah, that's good looking. What did you use for the rivets? Are those just flared tube?
Flared tubes, man. I love that stuff. It looks cool. It's really strong, super strong.
Do you use like a press to flare those tubes?
A little arbor press, like a Kydex, arbor press, and then USA Knife Maker sells little cones that go in there for that. Yeah, so you countersink the holes, and then you just, and it's incredibly strong. Like you'd have to destroy it to get it apart.
Wow.
It's like stainless tubing that's just like jammed out. And it goes up into there. You're getting to the older ugly stuff now, but
getting to the older ugly stuff. Oh, there it is.
That's the one. Yeah, it looks better in the photo than it does in person. Coop did it, or that wasn't Coop. That was
Caleb.
Caleb, yeah. And I just took the photo myself, and he did the editing. But I think that was only like a 2 weld thing, really.
Yeah, I see it.
I mean, it was pretty coarse, but.
Yeah, no, it's good.
That's the first time I did that handle. That's like where that handle kind of comes from. Like my modern integral handles, like that's like the, that was like the first integral, the first S grind, and the first mosaic I ever did, all on the same knife.
Oh wow.
Kind of dumb, but yeah. And I burnt through one. The first one I did the S grind. I got too thin in the middle. It got all.
Oh no! What were you using? What size wheel were you using?
Oh man, that was like. Whatever year that is, that would have probably been I think I got it from that Nathan the Machinist on Blade Forms. He made them back in the day. And it was like 3 feet or something. And it should have been like the bigger one. I have a bigger one. This one has the bigger one.
Oh,
the blade ended up being a little too thin. It's like maybe like 90 thou at the spine. So like it didn't leave you a lot to S-grind away, you know?
Yeah. I want somebody, maybe somebody listening to this can help with this, but I want somebody to model what different radiuses look like in, this is when you're setting up the shop.
Yeah, that's right after I moved out here. Yeah.
Ooh, look at all these tools.
That was I went and took a class at New England School of Metalwork.
Nice.
Like a 5-day blacksmith class. It was pretty good.
Is that a gate handle with the leaf on it?
The one on the right, bottom right, or
bottom left?
Yeah. Kind of left. Yeah, that's like a handle. You can't.
Really that's cool.
You just it's like a 5-day class. It's actually pretty good. You do a lot of different manipulations.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
So I got sidetracked.
Oh yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you're getting into really ugly stuff.
Oh, is this the hammering that you came to? Or no, this is a different hammer.
No, this is where Shokin? This is like after Shokin. I took a sword class at New England School. This is the first class that Matt taught it. The first one.
Oh no.
Yeah. Now you can see him getting the old stuff.
I've been there.
Yep.
That is a bad feeling.
Yeah.
Oh, you can see the Forstner bit. You can see.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yep.
The shape of the blade.
Yeah, that was sad. That was a sad day. It wasn't a very good knife in hindsight, so I'm okay with it. But
yeah, yeah, I've totally been there though, dude.
Yeah, you can see how they've changed over the years.
Yeah. It's not a bad. Oh, geez. First try at Crew Forge V. How did you enjoy it?
The forging wasn't bad. The hand sanding kind of sucked.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
I have an idea for a product coming up. This diamond for hand sanding high wear resistant steels. I'm talking to a guy about who does like diamond resin products, like sharpening stones.
Yeah,
and I'm talking about like trying to get a custom formulation that's going to be like quick wearing, but it has diamonds, so like it doesn't matter what steel you're hand sanding. To at least get you up to the point where like you have to use sandpaper to conform with rubber, but like you should be able to get it pretty quick.
Sure.
So that's another project for the future.
Yeah. God, I was saying something about. We were talking about S-grinding earlier.
Oh, modeling it to visually see.
Oh yeah.
You know who was the cool person to talk to is Matthew Beauvais. He makes that Damascus, the DMT Damascus manipulation tool. Have you seen that? Yeah. So he's like he works for Vistaprint. He's like a programmer, and he made that website himself. So he might like be a resource to reach out to like make like an online tool to do that. It'd be kind of cool. Or he could build it into his Damascus patterning tool.
Honestly, that would be super cool because I think it's tricky. Oh man, it could be adjustable for like the spine thickness and an edge thickness. You could like change
the height,
the radius, and then you could play with like how close to the center it gets or not, and then that will inform based on the height what kind of wheel you want to work with. Or based on what kind of overall aesthetic you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, and even like how it will affect on mosaics. It doesn't affect the pattern too much, but like on that website he has like for a twist, he has a tool where you could make up a mosaic, twist it, and then you could grind into it. And it shows you how the pattern changes as you grind to the core, so how far you have to go to get to the look you want.
Sure.
Like I could imagine that tool being useful on that too if you built it into that.
Yeah, because that portion replicates or kind of replicates, I don't know, the Thor program from a long time ago, but it definitely takes it beyond what the Thor program ever did. And I love that it's a web app.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's so nice.
I do want like an offline version in case he ever like puts the website down. I want to have it, but it's pretty cool, man. So he might be a resource to talk to you about that because that'd be a cool thing to build in there.
Damascus the Damascus manipulation tool, and he's a friend of Lawrence Lake's, right?
Yeah, he knows Lawrence, and him and Nick Rossi are pretty close, and all those like Northeast kind of guys. They're all pretty tight. But
because I think it was Lawrence that turned me on to that page. a while
Yeah,
ago.
it's I actually met him in that. You saw the picture of Matt Parkinson on Instagram. I met him in that class.
Oh,
And so,
really?
yeah, he was there. He actually had pneumonia. He kept coming in. We're like, stop coming here. He's like hacking up the
Go
lungs.
away. We
Yeah.
don't want
Well,
you here.
well, it wasn't even contagious. I'm like, you don't
Yeah.
look good, man. Like,
Oh
like
my
I'm
God.
sure they'll give you some money back or something. Like, I don't know.
I think
He's
it's fun.
begging.
Knife makers are like the toughest tough guys until somebody's got a cold and they're like, get away from me.
Yeah, I don't want you near me.
You don't get to come to the party.
Even
You're
my kids, I'm like,
disgusting.
get away. Like, you're dirty.
Yeah.
Like, when they're all sick and stuff. I
Right.
don't actually kick them away, but
Yeah, for sure.
I don't appreciate them being up in my face as much with their
Where
stuff
do you
right.
see yourself in the next, let's say, 5 years? 5 years is a much shorter period of time than any of us really imagine it is. But
Yeah.
with production, with custom work, with shows, or doing art shows with Vivrant and Joseph, or just any and all of it.
Yeah, like for one, I'm hoping by then to be a mastersmith. I'm hoping that'll be like maybe next year I'll go down that road.
Okay.
I'm hoping the production thing gets to the point where like maybe I have an employee or two. I don't need to be like Montana Knife Company, but like if it could be a self-sustaining thing that actually brings
Right.
money in, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then, like still and then gives me time to do like the fun stuff, like the Damascus, things
Yeah.
and some of the Japanese stuff. And then, yeah, it'd be cool to be in a few shops around the country. Like, I don't love giving them money, but it's cool to have people around the country get to try your stuff that otherwise
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to. I think there's
Absolutely.
absolute value in that.
There definitely is. I agree.
Yeah, yeah. And my stuff does well in the local store because of that. Also, I think they push me because they know me, but
Yeah.
that helps too. Yeah, Matt. And then, yeah, like I like to make this to like a real, like sustainable business. So I don't feel like I have to be an electrician again. Because
Yeah. You don't want to be an electrician anymore?
actually, I didn't mind it, but I also had a really good gig in Cleveland, which I'll never be able to replicate. I kind of got to do my own
Oh,
thing.
I got you.
So
Yeah.
it kind of
Oh,
fell into a
wow.
perfect storm there.
Sure.
And like all the old electricians, I mean, out of all the construction electricians, like they're not too beat up when they're retired, but they all got old bad backs and they're all carpal tunnel and which
Oh, God.
I'll be that anyways probably, but I'll have more fun doing it. Yeah, I'll have more
Or
fun
not
getting to that point.
trigger finger. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
kind of stuff. And what do you see? What are some techniques that you're hoping to either improve upon or learn in the next, say, 5 or 10 years?
Yeah,
Or
like I mean,
some style of knives that you're really interested in learning
I
to
honestly,
build.
I know Jordan Lamothe pretty well, and he gets to do like some pretty cool stuff, like historic weapons and just like really wacky things that I just would never really get to try unless someone ordered it from me. And it'd be cool to get to a point where I
Right.
get to try some fun things that are like more complex than
Yeah.
I mean, chef knife you could only make so complex because until it becomes not a very good chef knife, then it becomes
Sure.
like a wall art. Like you like you
Yeah.
can't really. I don't want engraved on the blade because that's going to hold crap, right? Like too
Yeah.
much. You don't want to engrave on the handle too much. You're kind of limited, which is I kind of enjoy working within that palette, but it'd be fun to be able to dabble in some like cool, like things out at a high level, that I don't really get to
Yeah.
do or haven't got to do. Which I think the Master Smith set will be the first chance I get to play around with some like non-chef knife high-end stuff. Although I will probably have a couple chef knives.
Sure. Do you think you'll try to do some engraving or?
I do. I have it sitting. Well, I'm not going to show you because it's messy, but yeah, I got a good deal on a Steve Lindsay engraver setup.
I got you. Oh, nice.
So, and I got like a cheap microscope. So I like to dabble in it. I kind of want to take a class maybe in the next couple of years down in is it Steve? He's a master smith, I think. He teaches knife maker, Missouri. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank on his name right now, but really well known. I think Jordan Lamothe is going. So this year, Jordan Lamothe, Zach Jonas, and Salem Straub are going to go take a class with this guy this summer.
Oh, dang.
Like engraving class. So something like that I think would be fun. I think that's a cool tool to have. Whether how you use it is a different story, but right now I use it for guard fitting is all I use it for. I'll like inlay the blade into the guard a little bit, but
right.
Yeah, I think playing around with some of that high end stuff would be fun, and like more like I think this year I'm gonna start dabbling in more like Damascus, like I said we were talking earlier, like pattern development stuff that I haven't really honestly ever tried to develop, beyond like simple stuff, like
Sure.
sat down and like try to plan out like new or like new to me type New as in like I came up with it on my own, not that someone else didn't do it already, but like original idea stuff. I have some sketches, but I just haven't really put the time into it.
Yeah,
which is kind of fun. The little bit that I have done it.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah.
The Q&A, I'm going to be getting ready to do the Q&A after the podcast that we're recording right now. And the Q&A is going to be about patinas, force patinas.
Oh.
And I'm curious what your experience is with force patinas and what approaches you've tried or that you like, or even if makers who do a good job with force patinas that you've been interested in.
Trying to think who there's a couple of guys out there. Some Europeans who do some kind of cool stuff. I can't think of names at the moment, but I have played around with like different ways of getting a durable patina, whether it be like coffee or ferric or other acids that leave it. I've been playing around with heat over like on my Damascus etching as of late to get very durable black. So the newer way I've been doing coffee is very durable, but like the more ferric chloride way, the way I used to do it, which is incredibly durable, but it only worked on fine patterns, is you'd etch it for depth, and then on your last etch, you would just leave all the oxide on there and go right into boiling water with baking soda, just a little bit of baking soda. And I think the heat transforms that oxide in some way that's like you can't buff. I mean, you could eventually buff it off, but like you could buff it shiny. It's like incredibly durable. You have to hand sand it off.
Oh wow.
And so I think heat could be a fun tool to play with and like making a durable patina. Whether you're doing like a ferric or even like lemon juice, maybe you could stabilize it with heat. If you look up like rust bluing, is the way they used to blue firearms, where they would actually like intentionally rust the gun, like a humid, salty air room, and then they boil it in water basically, and then the orange rust would convert to whatever the black version is, but really durably.
Blue and black, yeah.
Yeah, and it's the heat that does that conversion. So I think that's what made that ferric, when I was doing it that way, very, very durable. And it might even be a benefit to coffee. I don't know. Although coffee is probably a different kind of oxide.
I don't know. I
don't think it's not. Coffee is not as more like a.
Because I've done the coffee. I've done the coffee with a hot baking soda bath, and it turned the blade green.
Yeah, we don't want that. Yeah. I think the oxide from coffee is not like iron oxide. I think it's like, I don't know what it is, or it's a different form or something. It looks different even. You can tell by looking at the coffee. It's got a different kind of color to it.
Interesting. So the ferric transforms into black.
Yeah, I mean, it stays black. It just gets like really durable, and it gets like a deeper black with the heat.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. Kevin Cashin is the one who told me about that. He said he found it because he would just like etch a blade and just neutralize it in hot baking soda water just to neutralize it.
Yeah.
And then he found out that like, oh man, you can't like sand this. You're like sanding this stuff off and it's not coming off.
Oh, interesting.
So and there's a couple other mastersmiths I know. There's definitely one out on your side of the country that would he would do it in like hot water with baking soda overnight basically, and then same thing, you sand off the high points, and it is very durable, but it only works for a fine pattern because when you sand the highs off, you'll scoop out.
You can accidentally scoop out the yeah. Well, and that's what I really like about the coffee is getting those bold black areas. Like I did the Deal with the Devil skull blade, and it is a massive like swath of black material. And the only way to do that I've felt confident with is with the coffee. And
I think so.
I got a new etch on it after I got it back from getting professional photos done by Eric Eggerly. I re-etched the blade and I ended up getting a better finish on the blade, and just kind of frustrating, but at the same time, it's whatever.
That's what I'll be doing probably this afternoon. Is that the one that won the award in Texas? If you look at the photo, there's like a little doll spot up by my maker's mark. I don't really know what I ran out of time, so I didn't get I like re-etched it like 4 times before.
I remember you messaging me.
I think the problem I had is I did that hot wax, but you got to really sand to get that off, and I just don't think I was getting it. So like now I'm gonna take it back to like 100, and then back up. I haven't tried your coffee low grit kind of 400 stuff yet. I have notes somewhere from the hammer.
Sure,
I'll play with that this summer because it looks beautiful, and it seems easier. So less work than taking it up to like 1,000 grit or something,
For sure.
Oh yeah. That's playing around, but I think that'll be a fun conversation about the patina stuff.
Yeah,
there's a lot of ways you could go.
Yeah, there's a lot, and there's a lot I haven't done. There's a lot I understand theoretically. I have some pictures I'm going to be sharing. Should be pretty interesting, but and I
Yeah.
have a couple experiments that I've been doing that I'm interested to talk with the group about. So you'll jump in there. You'll see
Yeah,
that
I'll
too.
be in. Yeah, I'll probably handling the play listening. Yeah,
Yeah.
so just yesterday, so the way I take my Ford scale off is I use sodium bisulfate, which is like pull pH down. You get it
Oh
at
yeah.
Home Depot.
Yep.
That's what they use in industry to remove like Ford scale. When you get like a pickled annealed steel, that's what they use
Oh,
basically.
okay. Yeah.
That's what I'm told. I actually haven't like researched that myself to verify it,
Sure.
but
Sure.
Kevin Cashin said it, so if it's wrong, it's his fault. But so I did it. There's one that I already ground, and I'm like, I got to get the scale off this. I just don't know why. I just got in a hurry. That one that I
Yeah.
burnt, I told you yesterday.
Yeah.
So I just put it in there to get the scale off, and it really attacked. It was a San Mai with A203E on the outside, pure nickel, and then 26U3 in the middle.
Yeah.
And it really got like a deep black on the blade. It was pretty cool. Just in
Oh,
that.
interesting.
Yeah, which I never thought of that. And it was like pretty hard to rub off just right outside of it. So like
Oh,
that's another
wow.
move to play with,
Yeah.
And it really that A203E gets this really cool alloy banding in it. I don't know. I really don't know why.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like I think it's just like mild steel with nickel in it, basically. It's what they used to use for Damascus before they knew about 15 and 20 or whatever,
Right.
or before
Sure.
it was common. But it gets this like it almost looks like wrought iron. It's really cool. I think in my story it might be gone now. There's a video of it.
Oh, okay.
But it got a pretty cool look on the blade just from that stuff.
Right.
So there's like all kinds of stuff out there that people could try that haven't yet, or you don't think about it.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Well, sir, I appreciate you joining me for the conversation. I really love the work you're doing. If people aren't already following you, hopefully they'll be following you soon.
Yeah.
Again, you can find Rich's work on Instagram at Patterson Forge on Instagram. That's Patterson Forge on Instagram. You can obviously go see him in. Wait, sorry. When is? Oh yeah, Vivrant.
We played Chill Weekend, so most of the people are not going to be around.
Well,
but
knife makers, but knife makers aren't always the best knife buyers. But anyways, if anybody's interested, you can go see him and check him out. June, what is it? 5th, 6th, or 6th, 7th, 8th?
Yeah. Yep. And the Edina Art Show in Edina, Minnesota.
Edina, Minnesota. Fancy pants part of town.
Fancy pants, yeah. Where you get your fancy clothing and stuff, yeah.
And then obviously, and then there's the Midwest Knife Makers Guild show at the end of September, and then the Hammering in the middle of August. Are you going to be teaching at the Hammering again?
They didn't ask me this year, so
okay.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, sure.
I kind of told them like I'll do it every other year because it's like there's only a handful of us locally that are kind of like of like a teaching level, really. So
right.
We'll rotate. Yeah. And then I'll be at the David List show.
Right.
Yeah.
Mid-September as well. Yeah, I look forward to seeing you. It's going to be, I think, like 30. Dave's place is about 30 minutes, maybe 25 minutes from my shop.
Oh man, that's perfect.
Super
close. It looked like a good time. I was pretty jealous. That's why I'm like, hey, Luke Delmar's like, just reach out, maybe ask him. Maybe he'll let you in. So I kind of like, I'm like, hey, can I come, please? And he let me. So
yeah, nice. I want to give one more last shout out. I'm good with words. One last shout out to the super sponsors for this month's episode of the Artisans of Steel podcast. It is Gabe Fletcher on Instagram at Anchorage Brewing, as well as at Anchorage Forge. Josh A. Weston, he's Josh Weston, our friend Josh A. Weston on Instagram, as well as he's part of he is the owner of the Dragon Forge Experience, which is at Dragon Forge EXP. Russell Tinsley, his brewery is Oozle Finch Beers. That's OOZLE Finch Beers on Instagram, as well as at Can't Make Knives on Instagram, his maker page. Dan Hubbs is 66 Mountain Knives on Instagram, and Lawrence Lake is Maritime Knife Supply on Instagram, maritimeknifesupply.com. And I think you can also go check him out at LGL Knives, I believe is his personal maker page. I'm going to double check that real quick. LGL. Yeah. LGL Knives on Instagram. Oh, sorry, LGL. Yeah, well, yeah. I was like LGLK Knives. No, it's LGL Knives. To go check out his personal maker page. So, with that, I thank you all for being wonderful supporters of the Patreon for this live conversation with my friend Rich Patterson. And if you are listening to this after this has been released publicly, you can go over to the Patreon where you can support at the illuminated individual level or higher, where you can be part of these live conversations and help to drive the conversations. Ask these makers very unique, specific questions, because this is a rare opportunity to have access to these people and ask these questions. So with that, we're going to call it a day.